What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge for a little Tuesday tidbit action. OU versus Kansas, 11 a.m. kick again on Fox this week. And the captains' names were released yesterday. So we'll get right into that. Before we do, though, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel by going on there, clicking the subscribe button, and turning on your notifications so that you are notified anytime we drop a video, which has been very often lately. So make sure you do that. Appreciate the likes and comments and any ratings you can give us. So the captains have been released. You have Jaron Kanak, Jonathan Laulu, Desan McCullough, Andrew Rame, and Walter Rouse, Jay. So let's just start with maybe break it down in those five guys. And we'll start with Jaron Kanak, who really has been playing pretty well lately. Had, I think, 10 tackles, 10 or 13 against Texas, right? Had another pretty good game last week. Seems to be around the ball very often.
Yeah, he had a good game again. And the thing is, like, the only thing from last week I thought that was just very disappointing was that goal line stand that they had, and he had the penalty that really cost him there. Obviously, it's a learning experience. I'm sure Brent Venables had a good coaching time with him there on that, and probably throughout the week. But Kanak, man, he's starting to come in his own, and I would say, this is his second year. He played a little bit last year, but I mean, you look at Danny Stutzman in his third year. I kind of feel like Kanak's gone that same path as Danny Stutzman was. So, Stutzman played a little bit his freshman year, played a lot more his sophomore year. So I feel like Jaron's kind of on that same path, which is great.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%. Jaron Kanak is where maybe Stutzman was, kind of in that same area. He did have a couple missed tackles last week, but man, a guy who can cover well, can get out back into coverage and drop back, and who can also apply the pressure pretty quick and run laterally. So Jaron Kanak's been great for the Sooners defense this year. And then a guy who has also been very good for the Sooners on the defensive line is Jonathan Laulu. Last week had a great – what?
Would you say Jonah Laulu?
Yeah, Jonah Laulu. Yeah, sorry. I think I said Jonathan, but yeah. Jonah Laulu had a great play last week where he caused a 7-yard loss, I think it was. He continues to really be a surprise, I think, as he's getting in there and really getting some penetration into the backfield in the middle of that OU defensive line.
Yeah, he's getting better and better in the middle, which, moving from end to middle is a totally different game. And, hey, the defensive line for OU's been, I think, one of the biggest reasons why they are 7-0, because you look at the run game, they've been very good in it up front. Now, they've allowed some busted plays and some longer runs, but I wouldn't put that on the middle of the defensive line. Most of that, I feel like, on the edge or something like that. I think the middle of the defensive line has been really good against the run. So, and Jonah's one of the reasons why. And he's been good with pressure up the middle too. So
he has, and I saw a stat. I'm not going to quote who it's from because I don't remember, but one of the data analytic places that said OU's defensive line against the rush has the best. I want to say it was like stuff percentage.
Yeah, that's right.
In which they're able to just stuffing the middle, which is kudos to the middle of the line. And Jonah Laulu's been a big part of that. Moving to the edge of the defense, these are all defensive guys thus far. You got Desan McCullough, and I tell you what, Desan McCullough continues to impress me. We knew he was going to be pretty special. I tell you an area that I've really been impressed with, and I know Harrington's been on the sideline. You can see him on the sideline helping out. Desan McCullough's coverage has been I'm pleasantly surprised and impressed on his coverage skills as he's been able to get out and snip out some of those running backs coming out of the backfield or tight end flares, or he's really done a great job in that area.
Yeah, and he's really good off the edge too. Specifically, I feel like in the run game on that zone read, he does a really good job coming in there and crashing and getting the back from the outside. So he's just going to keep getting better as well. And I'm glad to see him a captain. So far, all these guys have not been captains yet, not to my knowledge this year. Maybe I don't think any of them have. I don't remember Jonah, maybe Jonah, but so far, so that's great. Love to see that. And it's a big game. It's a road game. And 3 defensive guys so far. Defense travels. Let's go travel well and win this game.
You're right. They got Devin Neal. He's an elite running back. Both of their quarterbacks are, depending on who plays, whether it's Daniels or Bean. Sounds like it's going to be Bean probably, but he is elite in speed. So these defensive players, these captains, going to have to be at our best on Saturday to shut down that Kansas Jayhawk offense. Moving over to the other two captains, both on the offensive side of the ball, both on the line, and that's starting with Andrew Raym, who really, he's the starter of the offense. He's the one that snaps the ball every play and has been really well, done really well, performed really well on his snaps. I can only think of two, I think, to which maybe you could say that Andrew Raym failed to snap the ball correctly or accurately. But Andrew Raym has been very solid. He's a great guy to have in the line with his intelligence, pointing out where attacks are coming from on the defensive side from the blitz. So Andrew Raym been really good this year.
And he's a guy I think on the offensive line that can be kind of like a vocal leader. And also, when you go on the road like this your center's got to be they got to be on it. I mean, this is. I'm not saying Kansas. I mean, typically you look at their home field advantage. It's not like a lot of the other schools. I'd say it's a good home field advantage, but not like some of the other ones. But you still have to be on top of your game. It's going to be rowdy there. Big noon kickoff. Andrew Raym's got to be ready to go. And then the next one, I mean, you got Walter Rouse too on the line. Walter Rouse, you know, we all know the play he made at Texas, but he's been pretty consistent for the most part. I mean, I think overall for what they've got from him this year is really good at that left tackle spot. And, you know, he's going to keep getting better and better, but he's a guy that's been around. He's been around the block. He's played a lot of football. He's a smart guy. Great captain choice.
Yeah, and I can remember 3 or 4 plays where he's downfield 5 to 7 yards blocking during that Sawchuk drive where really Major and Sawchuk just started pounding. That was kudos to the offensive line really kind of getting physical there. Going to have to be physical because that travels well as being physical on the offensive line. So, yeah, there's your 5 captains for this week. Before we get off here, though, let's talk a little bit about BV's presser, maybe, Jay, and something that stood out to you.
Oh, he was. It just seems like to me, just hearing him talk, that game last week is going to be kind of I don't want to say a blessing in disguise, but the way it fell, they got the win, even though they played not good at all. They got the win. They somehow found a way to win it, and now you can look at that film, and I'm sure he's been really harping on anybody can beat you. You can't show up and win these games. You got to play well. And now they're going on the road to Kansas. And here's the thing. As an OU fan and as an OU player probably, you look at Kansas and your typical probably response is it's Kansas. Okay, I'm just saying, like, I know they're better the last few years, but historically, OU's dominated this series. I mean, just flat out dominated it. And so now you have that game where you just didn't play well. I look for OU to come out and play really good. And Brent Venables did talk about the kicking situation a little bit. Even joked around a little bit about a couple questions on the kicking game. He was really happy with Elzinga punting game, which was really good. And you're going to have another good punting week if you're not moving the ball well on offense. But here's the thing. We all watched the game last year. It was 52-42, I believe. Bean had 4 or 5 touchdown passes against OU. So he's not going to be intimidated at all against OU, even though it's a different defense this year. But offensively, OU looked really good against, and Dylan Gabriel specifically last year against Kansas, if you remember.
Yeah, so, I mean, the offense is going to have to score points, but defense should not allow 40-something again. But you're right. OU never really gets intimidated going to Kansas unless it's January to March, and that's on the basketball arena at Allen Fieldhouse.
I feel like Brent maybe was he didn't really say it, but kind of last Saturday, kind of like let's refocus again. Let's get back, refocus. We gotta do the fundamentals of things that need to be doing right and playing well and finish out the season strong.
Yeah, true serum and Brent Venables, I think right now looking back, he'd probably say he doesn't mind that happened last week because he is using it as a springboard. And let's be honest, it's probably the most adversity they've had all year. And because, that was, I mean, they were down to the last drive and had to put points up, and then had to get a stop, and then had to get the 2-point stop, and then had to get the onside kick. So
Yeah.
a lot of adversity in that game.
Yeah, and like he said after the game, if you remember, he talked about you don't want to peak too early. Do you remember him saying that? So,
Yeah.
It's just the ebb and flows of the season. You build and build and build, and just keep improving, and let's have a great game on Saturday. Probably going to be
Yeah,
raining.
so there you have it. It's probably 50 degrees and raining on Saturday is what the forecast looks like. Got to be physical. Physicality wins in those types of weather conditions, and I expect OU to do that coming off that unpleasant experience on Saturday. So, yeah, if you're not part of the Sooner Surge, make sure you subscribe. And that's our Tuesday Tidbits. Till next time, Boomer.
Boomer.